there's been a lot in the news lately about the India-Pakistan conflict. China is now accused of spreading the disinformation on the Rafale. The intelligence findings suggest that Chinese defense attaches stationed in embassies across the world lobbied foreign governments, particularly those that have purchased or considering buying the Rafale jets, to question their performance and instead opt for Chinese-made alternatives. To catch everyone up, the claim made by Pakistan military, they made a very nice presentation that they shot down 6 aircraft, of which I think 2 or 3 were the Rafale, and they were using Chinese J-10s and J-17s, the JF-17, which is their joint fighter, and PL-15s, which is a Chinese missile, long range. And basically, Dassault's stock dropped significantly in this news. And we had the article where the Dassault CEO basically kind of said, yeah, we think something happened, but we don't know how many. And there was other news saying that it was a mechanical issue and had nothing to do with combat operations. But the French Defense Ministry has now said there's vast campaign of disinformation was launched against the Rafale, including social media posts, fake imagery, AI-generated content, even video game simulations to portray combat scenes. More than 1,000 social media accounts amplified the claims. Pakistan claims to have downed 5 aircraft during the clashes, including the 3 Rafales. The French Air Force chief, Jérôme Ballinger, stated that only 1 Rafale was lost, along with a Sukhoi and Mirage 2000. It was the first combat loss for the Rafale, and French is sold to 8 countries. But they've found no direct digital trail leaking disinformation campaign to the Chinese government. They point to coordinated messaging from Chinese embassies, defense officials as a clear sign of Beijing's involvement. It wasn't randomly targeted. It's undermining the French so that they can basically sell more aircraft. Gentlemen, Wombat, your thoughts?
Shocked. Cannot believe that there's disinformation out there. Breaking news.
Gonky, your thoughts?
Yeah, here, dude. Look at this. let's double down.
How long is that dude's arm?
It's a small cockpit. It's a small cockpit.
Yeah,
it's for the French. They're small people.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, they used I don't know, man. It's kind of like Wombat's not jokingly saying or shocked, but I don't think this is not the first time or the last time that China is going to use social media and AI and,
propaganda.
Allegedly. Sorry. Yeah. What am I saying?
Obviously.
Allegedly, these types of propaganda to make themselves look better and maybe make their influence decision making. So that's kind of what I think about it, man. I think it's
I mean, okay, you asked me my thought. If on social media the average neighborhood Karen can post about her life and make it look like it is a dream life, even though her husband's cheating on her and her life is a dumpster fire, you're telling me I'm not going to believe that the Chinese government can't also make stuff up? Like, everything is made up now. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to it. Just because you see something on social media or with AI or all, like, come on, this is so obvious that it's a ploy to help their own program out. Like, that's the world we live in these days. Like, if so.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. Like Mover said, the Pakistani Air Force, they put out a really, really nice presentation of what they did. They had quite a bit of details in there, and it was much better than the presentation the Indian military gave. But we really haven't seen any real. I mean, I haven't seen any real evidence.
There's some stuff from the Su-30. The Su-30 shoot down was pretty well covered.
And the fact that I think a lot of if airplanes were shot down, allegedly they happened within, their own countries. And so it would be easier to hide that. Like Mover was saying, we talked about the CEO there of Dassault, or that make the Rafale, came out and he didn't say no, none were shot down. But I mean, I don't know. I still have no idea what actually happened as far as Rafales being shot down. But I wouldn't put it past, allegedly, I wouldn't put it past governments using propaganda to sway one way or another. And remember, I forget, I think it was some Iranian stuff, right? Remember the giant F-35 that, like, so with AI today, it's you can do some pretty convincing stuff and some pretty unconvincing stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah. One of the things that's interesting to me, if you see, I know this video is going to get the hate, right? Because anytime we talk about the
Oh, yeah.
Pakistan versus India stuff, people are like, well, you taking sides. I'm not taking sides.
No, we're not.
It doesn't matter. From an espionage perspective, intelligence, counterintelligence, all of this that we're operating in serves a purpose. The Chinese have been doing that in American politics, American stuff for quite a while. They've been doing it in other global theaters. They are in full court press right now trying to sell their aircraft. I mean, we've talked about, 3 different air shows now, 3 different places where they've brought either the J-35, J-20, the models, not the actual aircraft, but the models.
Yep.
And they've been talking about orders being fulfilled and stuff. I mean, they are very much in the business of manufacturing and selling aircraft to foreign. And we've talked about it, the Iranians getting it. We just talked about this last week. So yeah, it's basically industrial espionage in that, I mean, not that they're stealing secrets, although that's a whole different story, but they are trying to influence markets with information. And I don't know if it's legit, right? Which we do believe to some extent. The Pakistanis were claiming things that legitimately happened. It worked. The equipment was the first time we had seen, PL-15s and the J-10 in action. So there is some validity to that, but it's the amplification, and it's there's always the 3 sides to every story that we're not getting necessarily the truth, like you talked about, Gonky. But the video game stuff, dude, DCS has gotten to the point where it's almost impossible to tell the difference. And we have seen that in the Ukraine, Russia. I mean, remember when early stages of the war, we were talking about the Ghost of Kyiv?
Yep.
I mean, this is not the first nor last time people will use AI, video games, or doctored images to try to either promote an idea or encourage morale or do something. I mean, we live in an information warfare age. So what's not helping them is how dodgy India and Rafale have been when answering these questions, right? There's not been a direct, yeah, we did this on this date, this happened, we have this data, here's the data. It's been, well, we lost some aircraft. It's been like this very vague kind of response, which just fuels the fire. I think when you come out and say, this happened on this date and be honest about it, which I'm not saying the US would be honest about it. I'm just saying that it's not helping. Especially when, let's face it, Pakistan and India are very online populace, and the level of troll farming and trash talking, I think there's just you're talking a theater, and the Iranians are the same way. They and Israel's the same way. Every theater, Ukraine, Russia. I mean, there are dedicated groups that all they do is try to spread disinformation to try to sway public opinion one way or the other. And in this case, they're trying to sell airplanes. I mean,
yeah. And I, when I was doing a little bit of I was reading up on this here a little bit. The fact that so they just, I guess IOC is what that's not what China calls it, but the J-35 is now, I guess, officially one of their frontline fighters. So the U.S. and China are the only 2 countries that are fielding 2 5th gen fighters as operational. So we've seen that they have the what's the bomber, the flying wing, it's not really a fighter.
J-36.
Yeah, the J-36. So I guess where I'm going with this is China's spending a ton of money on weapons, new airplanes, technologies. And I think kind of like what you're talking about, Mover. They want to sell airplanes to help recoup some of that investment. And then also, I mean, that's one way of building allies, right? And getting other countries to rely on you and getting leverage on other countries is like, you know, hey, if your Air Force flies all of our airplanes and 50 years from now we have a tiff, well, I have a little bit of leverage on you because we're not going to sell you parts for your
You
airplanes.
become Iran with F5s and F14s that are not that useful.
Right. So I think it's part of China's long-term plan on just, you know, having a bigger footprint and in global politics, really. So, because I mean, how quickly they have advanced, especially the Air Force, because that's really what I care about. I'm an airplane guy. Has been pretty eye-opening the last 20 years.
Oh yeah, China is a formidable threat.
Yeah, it's
Like,
industrial giant.
No doubt whatsoever. China is a juggernaut, and they are very capable and should not be underestimated.